my son, I was a big Braves fan growing up. I grew up like 20 minutes from where they spring trained, so Braves forever. And then he kind of grew up loving Freddie Freeman. And then, of course, he leaves, goes to your Dodgers, and helps him win a championship. But how cool are moments like that, just to be a part of that crowd, that community? I mean, I've been to Dodger Stadium a few times, but it looks amazing, just the passion that people have for that sport out there.
Oh yeah, being a Dodger fan in LA is one of the best experiences of my life. Really, my entire family's huge Dodger fans. Like I said, my stepdad included. And really, like in the moment of it all, I was very caught up in the idea of being there for the first time for a World Series, Dodgers versus Yankees. Like I said, growing up where I did and not ever really believing that I could be at a World Series game is just that in itself was super emotional for me. But
Jameel Muhammad and Jeff Cardozo dive into the hobby, which is sports cards, trading cards, as well as all other collectibles, right now on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast, live from the Coaches Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill.
Hey everybody, it is that time again for the Meelypod Hobby Podcast. Inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in the podcast room, I am Jeff Cardozo. We got the man Jameel Muhammad alongside. I feel like I haven't seen you forever. You're traveling and doing all these different things, so it's good to be back with you. And it seems like everything has just been moving right along, doing awesome.
Yeah, it just keeps moving. You were a talking head last week. It felt like we were on PTI or one of those shows. But it's been a busy 2 weeks, and as we've switched our kind of setup for the podcast, kind of going every other week. It's been interesting because every podcast now I'm like, holy smokes, there's so much to talk about. So we got a cool episode today for sure.
Yeah, and it's a cool month. We're into March now, which is crazy. I feel like we just had Christmas, and we're telling everybody to get in the shop and buy their Christmas presents and do all the Pokemon stuff, and then you're having shows and you're all over the place. And gosh, baseball season has started, and we're in the heart of the NBA, and all these things have happened there. And certainly now we're at the Combine, but March is special for many reasons, and we're going to do something on here that makes it a little more special.
Yeah, so I'm excited for this season. Women's National History Month, and I thought, we haven't had a ton of ladies on the podcast, and it's kind of representative of the hobby. We want to have more representation of just women because there is some really cool things the ladies are doing in the hobby, and so we're gonna have guests on this month. One week we're gonna have a guy on, but it's just gonna be a fun opportunity to kind of see what these ladies are doing. Today's guest is Stephanie from Mama Breaks, and been a good friend for a while, and just done a ton. She's just doing such an awesome job in what she does. And we'll have some other fun guests coming up through the rest of the month.
And the one guest that is a guy that will come on has a daughter that is a tremendous athlete, doing some great things, and gosh, may eventually be better than him.
Yeah.
Although that might be hard to do. All right, I'm sure the Upstate Card Show wasn't hard. I mean, hard to work because you're running around and doing a million different things. But I saw some videos and different things going on. How fun was it?
It was great. It was awesome. This card show was very different for me because I took a step back and let Joanna and Ben kind of just take the reins of everything. They did an amazing job. We did something at the card show that I don't know if any card show has ever done, which was we offered free breaks for the first, I think it was 300 people that came in. So we set up free breaks. People signed up for them: baseball, football, basketball, and then 4 Pokemon boxes. And it was just really fun. People came around. We had a little breaking area. Some people watched on their phones, and got some really cool cards for people. So that was a kind of a unique thing that I don't think a lot of people realize. Hey, they're actually doing free breaks that you can get into, and it was exciting and made people excited. And then, of course, the vendors and all the things going on over the weekend. Our buddy Justice, we'll talk about that in a second here with grading, but he set up and for Meelypops grading and took in a bunch of submissions. So I think our total number was somewhere around 1,700 for the Friday, Saturday, which is more than we had in any other event that we've run. And I think everybody was just smiling. A lot of things for kids that we did, free stuff, and just excited for kids. And then the Hobby Rip Night was right afterwards. So we had that here in Gainesville as well as up in South Carolina. And both Rip Nights were just a ton of fun. We discounted a lot of stuff. I got to see some of our security cameras during the Gainesville real event, and it was just a packed house and people going nuts. And Tim was running it, and he told me, he goes, people were just like Black Friday and just grabbing packs and opening so much. So good time, good community in the past few weeks.
Yeah, I've seen some of the times where it's the online breaks, and it's tough you can't really see people's reaction, but obviously the person opening the stuff's reaction. But how cool is it to do those like in person, where everybody's around, and all of a sudden something opens up, and you might see a kid smile, or just like a dad's face, like, oh my gosh, stuff like that.
It's unique because we're getting away from a lot of that, right? We're doing more digital kind of breaks, and that's kind of what people think of when they say online breaks. But when you do breaks in person, and this is how we started in our shop. We had people come in on a Sunday afternoon, and we would do a football random team break. And shout out to all those guys back in 2018 that would bring their lawn chairs in the store, and we had a lot more space back then. And they would just sit around this TV, and we would break, and they would trade their teams. It's just the camaraderie that you do miss with the online element of it, and just being in the physical. But there were so many kids that just getting excited when a big card got pulled from Pokemon, for example. You have all these kids cheering, and then when we had the basketball break, there was a really big LeBron James card that came out, so everybody was excited for that. Nice. And it's just what I think the hobby truly is. That's why I say we have the best hobby out there, is that you have just an incredible community of people that are excited about it, and they want to see each other do well in it.
Yeah, speaking of LeBron, of course, he's got Luka now, and the Mavs had Kyrie, and now all of a sudden, no. And, I think we've talked a lot about getting hurt or things happening or not winning a championship, winning a championship, being an MVP. Does this now maybe affect things for Kyrie cards, or it's just too quick to know?
I mean, you got to kind of say what's going to happen with Davis, right? Like, is he going to be around? Is he going to get hurt? It just seems odd just how that all. I mean, you hope he's going to be around for 2, 3, 4 more years, and you hope Kyrie can bounce back. But the Luka side of it is really intriguing, because you kind of went from a guy who was this monument in Dallas to just being uprooted, and now is the future monument in LA, right? And LeBron and him together look great. Yeah. They seem like that, off-ball stuff. I mean, they're just getting more opportunities. People on the team, Dorian Finney-Smith, go Gators.
He says he's open all the time now.
All the time, he's open. So I think that kind of stuff, is going to be fun to watch in the playoffs. And you're starting to see this mounting momentum of pundits saying that LA has a good chance to win the West, which would be wild to think that could happen, and have Luka return back to the finals on the Lakers. But you still got to get through teams like OKC and Denver and a lot of other tough teams out west.
And Cleveland, all of a sudden, just destroying Boston the other day and doing some different things. And I'm not sure there's many people can even tell you who's on the Cavs.
Yeah,
but they're tearing it up. They'll be really, really good. Well, what else is good? You've mentioned Pokemon a couple of times, and apparently there's something to do with food, or maybe my favorite snack with a card.
So earlier, before, we had to clean Jeff's fingers because he had all the orange. He was licking his fingers, and I was like, guys, stop that. We can't put that on the podcast. No, but Cheetos. So there was this sale of the Cheetos-ard, they called it. Somebody had opened a bag of Cheetos, and it looked like Charizard from Pokemon, which is kind of the Mickey Mantle of Pokemon, right?
Okay.
And they put it in this special little case, and it's called Cheetos-ard, and it gained this, notoriety, and it recently sold on auction for $8,000. $88,000. It recently sold on auction for $88,000, which to me, a Cheeto shouldn't sell for more than 88 cents, but it sold for $88,000. So with the Pokemon craze that's going on right now in our nation, people, if you come into any card shop right now that does both sports cards and Pokemon cards, I would venture to say it's probably 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 with the amount of customers that are coming in, collectors that are flocking to Pokemon over sports cards. Now, I don't think that's a bad thing, because I still think the sports card crowd is there. I just think you're gaining so much more Pokemon. Yeah. And we've seen just kind of an incredible resurgence in our shop. A good example is just this past weekend, I had a gentleman set up an appointment. He goes, I got a bunch of old Pokemon wax and boxes I want to sell. And I said, sure, come on in. I'm always buying stuff for the shop. And comes in. We have a card bar in our shop, and he starts laying it all out. We price it all, blah, 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 blah. And we get it ready, pay him. So it's probably retail value about $7,500 worth of stuff. So as we're pricing it and putting it on the shelf, it's just people are just grabbing this stuff. And I'm like, I mean, I know this is good stuff, but it's still price retail, Yeah. And we went through, in a matter of 15 minutes, I think $3,000 value of that stuff. in about 10 minutes,
Wow.
right? So it was one of these things where I definitely can't recoup this stuff fast enough. Our shelves are always bare, so we're always trying to find ways to plug in more stuff Pokemon wise. But it just kind of showed me, wow, like that's where we are. And then the next day, one of the guys that was there Sunday came by and visited us and bought a box, for I think it was $1,200-$1,300. So these kinds of things are happening fast. Pokemon is growing very quickly. And for me, as a card shop owner, it's fun because there's a lot of excitement. There is a balance there. You know what I mean? You don't want to lose your identity in what you do.
Sure.
Because as you grow in one thing, right, you have to remember that your other crowds, your other people have desires to seek baseball cards or do breaks or rip night or whatever. It doesn't necessarily always mesh. And I haven't found that perfect balance yet.
Yeah.
But I do know that we have a lot of kids doing that who are bringing their dads in and moms in. And so you're getting the whole family involved. And to me, this is just, it's a great kind of synergy that's being created.
Is it weird that Pokemon was supposed to start as this game that I still don't even understand how to play and match up, and now all of a sudden it's become more of just trying to find a certain card and throw it in a case?
Yeah, so I think it's I was talking to a good friend of mine about this, and he was like, I just don't get it. Like, why are there so many people? And I think the big word is nostalgia, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the big one because you grew up in the 90s and 2000s and 2010s, whatever era you grew up in, and Pokemon was kind of a quintessential video game. Then in 2010s, we get the Pokemon Go app, right? So you have an app where people are now taking it everywhere. You have all of the things with the movies, the trading cards, all these things kind of encapsulate this community. And now you have big events such as Collecticon that's Pokemon specific, and you have 30, 40, 50,000 people. I just saw an event in Atlanta that Collecticon did, and Waka Waka Flame, who's a rapper, was the performing artist at it, but he's walking around the entire place talking about Pokemon cards.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So like, it's just one of these things that I'm just kind of like, what is going on in our culture where it's become just permeated into celebrities, and we see it even more and more. So I don't know, man. I mean, we had Chris Costa on last week, and he was talking about the red carpet with ripping with Skeens and Post Malone and stuff on the Super Bowl party. So we're just seeing an increase in it, and it's an exciting time. So looking forward to it.
I got to meet actually Waka Flocka. He came and did Gator Growl.
Oh, that's right.
I was the MC that year.
Right.
So me and Walker are tight.
So Jeff needs to get his Pokemon card collection with Waka.
Well, and you have cards here. You won't
right.
tell me what they are. So now I'm curious because they're upside down. And
I got a stack here, buddy. So as you all remember, as we close out this first segment, Jeff had some PC cards that you brought to the grading episode with Justice, right? With Justice, and we were talking about your cards. We looked at a few of them on live, and then we took a bunch back to review for you. And so there was a big stack, and we eliminated a lot of the stack. And this is kind of what we came up with. There's still one more card to return.
Sweet, okay.
So we have your grading return here,
okay.
And I thought maybe we could talk about each one of them. Let's start with SGC, and then we'll go to PSA. Okay. So there's a good one right there in the back. LeBron James. And we'll put it to the camera. You want to flip it? It's your card, so you do whatever you want with it. So that's a good grade for that rookie Bowman LeBron James, 0304.
Nice.
That's a very tough card to grade, SGC 9. We're hoping to get a 9.5. We're always hoping kind of that mid-grade for SGC. I didn't think it was going at 10.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about that is card's encapsulated. You ain't got to worry about it too much anymore. And it was a very hard card to grade. So not bad on the first one.
Yeah, sweet. Take that.
You pay $16 to grade it, and now you got a card encapsulated, and you don't have to worry about it.
So then, how much does that then increase it, like by doing that?
I would say that one of the big things with a lot of this stack is you now have cards that are graded and encapsulated, and there's an objective value to them.
Okay.
Whereas before, if you didn't, that people would eat apart. Oh, it's a little white on this corner,
Sure.
or maybe it's not centered, and so you would never get the value assessment that you should. When you have an objective number, it's very easy to say, well, SGC 9s are doing this range.
Okay.
And you can kind of gauge it from there. So I would say something like that helps that card for sure. It definitely substantiates the raw mint value of it, and maybe a little bit more, 10%, 15%.
Okay.
But it's a great card to hold, and especially what happens if they win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or he makes it in the finals again. So
Be pretty good.
Next one you have here, it's got Carmelo, Wade, and James on it.
I
This was a
remember that card.
Fleer Tradition card, which is very, very hard to grade. So I'll show it to the camera here, and then we'll flip it around for Jeff. So got an 8.5, which is actually a very fair grade. I would say that 9 is equal to this 8.5 on that card specifically. So you got the rookies, the 3 of them from the 0304 class right there. And
Dwayne Wade's my guy too. That's so.
We'll have to talk to Jason Williams about Dwayne Wade.
yeah, for sure.
Playing with D Wade and Shaq and all that. What that was like when we have him in the shop. But so 8.5, that's not bad.
Look how young LeBron was.
I know. Look at that. Baby LeBron. And then the last one from SGC was your Lamar Jackson, and I was hoping that it would get a 9.5. I remember the Prism, we had this, we had the Luca, we had a bunch of Prism, and the hard thing with Prism is the edges, and we cleaned up them best we could on the edges, and you can see down here the black, it was clean, in the corner, so that's good. So here's your Lamar Jackson. So there's another mint 9 Lamar Jackson, which I think for those Prisms are great grades because they are really poorly made and they were cut really poorly.
Yeah.
But I was hopeful maybe we could get a 9.5 on it. Got a 9, but still a good grade for that card.
Take it. Sweet.
All right. You got 2 left. You want Will Smith or Jackson Holiday as we get into baseball? Which one do you want to look at first?
Well, the Gators played the Hurricanes this weekend, and Miami brought in a pitcher. His name was Will Smith.
Okay.
He gave up a homer. And I said, and then he got taken out. I was like, so Will Smith didn't get jiggy with it against the Gators. So let's go Will Smith.
Will Smith didn't slap, I guess is the new word, right? So Will Smith is an on-card auto. It's a 2019 Chrome rookie card auto. It's a really cool refractor auto, and it got a PSA 9, which is great.
Sweet.
So PSA 9s are always going to have a better value than an SGC 9 just across the market. And I'm really excited for that card because I think it's he's got a good future.
Yeah.
It's a mint 9. It's hard to grade Chrome because they scratch very easily. So now you got a card that's Will Smith, and let's hopefully has a good season.
So I got to stop getting all these cards that are scratchy or
well, the hard thing was your stack had a lot more, but we were talking about it a little bit too in that episode where you just bought those from the card shop, and so a lot of that stuff may have been already kind of poked through and things like that. So there were a lot that we kind of had to fail, didn't want to grade. All right, last card, that's yours.
Jackson Holiday.
We're going for this is a Jackson Holiday. Let's see what it is.
Oh,
all right, finally we got a 10 out of it all. There we go.
Sweet.
So Jackson Holiday, PSA 10 Bowman Chrome first, and I think his cards, they're starting to really trend up.
So this is my first ever graded gem mint card.
You will always remember your first.
I feel like
Jeff.
I'm part of the cool guy club.
PSA
now.
10.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You got one. That was
Sweet.
you bought that raw.
I did.
So you upgraded there.
Yeah.
Bro.
So need him to stay good.
Stay good. Or you might trade it for another
Jackson.
PSA 10.
Well, and his younger brother
Ethan
might be the #1 pick again.
Yeah,
so
people are excited.
That whole
about
family is just tremendous.
I mean, it all started with Matt and the Cardinals.
Yeah. He did it. Well, that's awesome. And then Gators, we got to see his brother.
Yeah.
He's a coach at Oklahoma State and out there at the regional last year. So holidays are good people.
Holidays are good people, and now you got a gem mint.
Yes.
So grading worked out.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you
for
doing that. And
of course.
Yeah, again, I think it was so cool, and I think for me, even I've been a part of sports for forever, but now understanding this world and all the hard work that you guys and the staff put into it, and just trying to understand what it takes in order for stuff to be successful. There's a lot, folks, and I think that a lot of people think they may have something, may not have something, but get to your local card shop, get to guys like Jameel and Justice and everybody else that have an understanding of this, and you're not, maybe disappointed because they're going to educate you and school you and say, no, that one's, not, but this one is. And then obviously all the ones you said yes to were pretty darn good.
Yeah, I mean, you always hope for the best, right? You hope for maybe a little uptick, or maybe the graders having a good day, you know, or won the lotto, or I don't know. You're just hoping for it. I think the one thing I can take away from this is, as a new collector, and you have this stack of rookie cards. Well, a lot of people think, well, they look great, I'm just going to grade them all.
Sure. And
then you get back a bunch of 7s and 8s and 6s, and it doesn't make any sense. All that money you just spent, and you really just lost on grading those cards. So finding somebody to help you out is important. Our shop does it. I know a lot of other shops are starting to do more of this, and we will have PSA in our shop March 29th with Jason Williams. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Do you know, like, where it started? There's probably just a handful of graders. Like, how many each company has now? Is there?
Oh my goodness, that's something I could look up. But I know PSA has really upped. I mean, they're in the hundreds of graders. Beckett is not that high at all.
I'm sure you have to go through this really big test and make sure you know what you're doing.
They have kind of like
to be the best of the best.
Yeah, they have like an apprenticeship kind of thing, and I think each company has 6 months or a year, things like that. I've heard that new graders actually take away from the grading process because they have to learn from the experienced graders.
Yeah.
So then that slows them down. And so it's one of these things, as we grow more, you're actually gaining less time to get your cards back. So, but we'll see. PSA just continues to expand. They are leaps and bounds above everybody else with the amount of cards they're putting out every single month. But we're seeing also with SGC, CGC some rises as well.
Cool. All right. Well, we've got Mama Breaks coming up. We're going to talk to Stephanie Garcia and really get a cool perspective of, gosh, how much she's blown up over these last few years and all the great things that she's doing. We'll back with more right after this on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
We welcome you back, still inside Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Jeff and Jameel here with you, and we've got our guests getting ready to go. And I'm excited about to meet Stephanie and hear all the great things you've hyped her up so much, and just all the great things that are going on. So it continues to be all the cool, unique people in this hobby, and we've talked to the whole gamut of different ones. So you got another special one today.
Yeah, I mean, I got to know Stephanie some years ago, and last week we have a guy who started these card shops, right? Chris Costa in the Card Vault, and then this week we have probably one of the most hardworking breakers in the game right now, but somebody who's created a brand, created it in an incredible way, but also made it fun, made breaking fun, and also different types of breaks fun. So I think Stephanie's on the virtual with us. She just beeped in. So I can't wait to have a chat with you. Steph, you there?
Yes, I'm here. I heard all that.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here. I mean, this is it's really cool to get to see. I've taken a step back with shows. We haven't done as many, and so I know I used to always see you on the show circuit. But I just got to go on your social media, and you literally are in Buffalo or Ohio, or I mean, you're literally everywhere all the time, and so it's exciting to see what's been going on. It's been a crazy couple of years, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I really appreciate when people who I consider leaders in the industry, are doing the most they can to put out content, because I think it's super important. And also just hearing you talk about me that way makes me feel really fired up and really, really grateful that someone like you, who I've looked up to since the beginning, has those wonderful things to say about me. So thank you. And yeah, shows is where kind of all of this started. I started buying and selling and trading at shows. And lately I've just been really focusing on building the breaking business here at home. And a big part of what we do is definitely content. So content is really where the opportunity arises. And we've had the incredible opportunity to go visit other people that I highly respect and learned so much from in the industry, like Card Collector 2. We went to his Rip Night last year, David Adams Rip Night. Leighton, we did a break with them for May the 4th last year. And yeah, it's just super grateful to be able to build those relationships, connections in this industry, and be able to share it with everyone because of my wonderful videographer, Eddie. Has been a great experience. So.
Shout out to Eddie. Those videographers they got a tough job. They gotta follow us around and listen to us, right, Stephanie, and make us look good and all those other things. So videographers,
I don't think
editors.
people, that part is I don't think people realize how hard of a job Eddie has to have to listen to my voice, probably more than anything.
I love it.
All the crazy things that I do constantly.
Yeah, well, we have a local guy, Dakota, here, and he does all our work on. And I always tell him, like, man, if you need to just like not listen to me for an hour or two, just tell me. I get it. You got me in your headphones all the time. But well, first question I got for you, Stuff, is I've never really asked you this, but like, where did your love for the hobby come? Because it's obviously apparent, and when you do breaks, when you're at shows, when you're with your customers and fans and people that breakers with you. But like, where did it all start? Like, how did you get into cards?
Give me 1 second. This thing is bothering me back here.
No, you're fine.
I just gotta put it. I gotta put it down. Because it's how like I have it on mute and it keeps going. It keeps like flickering and bothering the hell out of me. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Leave. Okay, so here we go. So my love of the hobby definitely started with Pokemon cards. That was my first obsession. I think I was 8 years old. I watched the TV show every day after school, and getting to buy Pokemon card packs for $5 at Toys R Us. And back in the day, we didn't have card shops where I grew up. I grew up in South Central LA, and we had to take 2 buses to the closest Toys R Us, and just remembering how special it was to get in there and get a pack and open and see what we got. And obviously, like everybody else has the stories, right? We had some Charizards that we put away, and mom sold in a yard sale at some point while we were moving
Oh gosh.
throughout the years. But yeah, that's kind of where the card thing started. I've loved foils. I love hollows. I took them to school. I made my own, binders through Staples. I used to like get those we used to get those at school for free, like those sheet protectors, and I would staple them in so that you could put every card and it would fit that way.
Wow.
And yeah, and it wasn't until really I fell in love with baseball. I was like 8 or 9 years old when I met my stepdad, and he took me to my first baseball game, and that's when I pretty much was obsessed with baseball. I say baseball was my first love because it really was what took over my life, and all I wanted to do was be an athlete and play baseball and watch baseball every day. And when I was in high school, I started just opening packs of baseball cards that I saw at Target, and really just had no idea about the industry. Even then, didn't realize that card shows existed or card shops. And it's just been like a journey that's followed me my whole life. In college, I started going to card shops. I went to Burbank card shop quite a bit because I worked across the street from there. And it wasn't until quarantine that I decided I had a little bit more time on my hands. I was a teacher at the time, teaching from home. I was like, I had my son at that point, and I was pregnant with my second. And I just wanted to get back into a hobby and really, really pursue it and make it a part of my life. And that's how this all started. So
Yeah, that's a pretty incredible story. I always tell Jameel too, and I even say it. I do the broadcast for Florida baseball. Baseball players are the best athletes, or the best looking, got the best butts,
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So that's the way it is. But apparently, you have your own baseball card. Like, how the heck did that happen? That's really cool.
Oh man, to say what a blessing this entire experience has been. I'm telling you, when I started this, I had no idea that I would build a business for it, first and foremost. I had no idea that I would be on social media to the extent that I am on it. And I had no idea the incredible people that I would have the opportunity to meet eventually. And it still continues to surprise me. So being on a baseball card, I actually got the call from Tops on my 30th birthday.
Wow.
On my birthday, I got a call from Tops, and I was like, "What the hell? Do they know it's my birthday?" Like, absolutely, they didn't call me to say happy birthday. They're like, "Hey, Stephanie, are you busy? How do you feel about being on a baseball card?" I was like, "What are you talking about? Like, are you just gonna like print them, and you want me to like do a video, or what are we talking about here?" I really didn't imagine that they were gonna put me in a set, and absolutely, I said yes. And I remember crying and telling my husband and my mom, and yeah, it's just being able to. I haven't pulled myself yet. I imagine I will one day as I continue to rip that set. But yeah, it's just an incredible honor, and it's since then has been one of the things that's continued to drive me to work as much as I can.
The 2023 Tops influencer from Big League, or the Tops Big League influencer short print. That's the card. We'll impose it here on screen here, but I saw this, Jeff, in real time at the National. I saw guys come up to me and they go, "You know Stephanie, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, Mama Breaks." And they go, "Do you know where she's at? I got to get my card signed." And so it was really cool to see just people with your card and then trying to find you. And I think that kind of encapsulates like where we're at now. There's so many people who are passionate about cards like yourself, and then you have people who are passionate as well but don't have that platform, and they're following you, and you are their voice for cards, and it was really cool. And of course they want their inscriptions and whatever,
Sure.
for Stephanie to write. So maybe have you this is a side question, but has PSA got a label for you yet, or do we knock on PSA doors?
Yeah, we so we're getting graded. Yeah, auto graded. I just when I get crazy with the inscriptions, they won't grade those. So I got to be careful on that. I've had people have me draw things on there and things like that. But yeah, my autos definitely have had some authenticated autos. Actually, my husband buys PSA 10s when he sees them pop up on eBay. So I have a couple of those.
Did you, I think all baseball players, grow up and you're kind of practicing your autograph over the years. Did you ever do that, or you just kind of came up with one
No,
eventually?
not at all. I kind of just came up with one. And it was obviously like very nerve-wracking to be like, oh crap, people are going
This
to be
is going to
asking me
be
for
it.
my
Yeah.
auto. But I kind of haven't really put that much thought into it. There's still a little bit of imposter syndrome, I guess, too. I don't I'm like, I guess if you want my auto, I don't believe it sometimes still.
It's so funny thinking too about just that, and we're opening cards all the time, Steph, and we pull these autos, and then there's some autos that stink, and then there's some that are amazing, and kind of leads me to my next question, which is about breaking. And so, Mama Breaks, this brand that how before I made the question, how old is the brand now? When did you come up with Mama Breaks? What year was that?
This was summer of 2021. So we're
21.
going on 4 years now.
And so,
Yeah.
last 4 years, if you've anybody who's listening or and is watching this podcast, if you don't know, I would just go back and look at Stephanie's growth in just this time, and it's a testament to your hard work. It's a testament to your knowledge and care for, I think, the hobby. But like, there's so many young people out there that are breaking and starting streams and these kinds of things, and I think it'd be great for you to share a little bit about what's gone on into getting so successful so quickly. Like, I'm obviously timing, obviously opportunity. These things are all, they play into hand, but how much of that, is due to ethic and some of the things that are behind the scenes, sorting for hours on end at 3 a.m. at night and trying to get stuff out as fast as you can for your breakers. Do you mind sharing a little bit about the success story that is Mama Breaks?
That's a lot. There's a lot to say about that. But definitely, I think it sounds very cliche, but you have to be in love with it. Breaking is not easy. You know this, Jameel. Anybody that breaks a ton knows that it's not easy at all. You really have to enjoy the process of sitting here and talking to people for hours. You have to enjoy the process of sorting and shipping and kind of getting better. And then as you continue to scale, you really have to enjoy the process of working with people, managing people, hiring, and all of this stuff. It's a process that you have to embrace what's difficult and enjoy it as much as you can as you go through it. I think that's one thing that I've definitely had to remind myself more than anything is to take a step back and enjoy it because it is a process, it is a journey, and it is going to be hard inevitably, no matter what. But also always have your community in mind, those who support you in mind, because they are the people who build your business. I am Mama Breaks and I can be this and I can be that, but I am nothing without the people that have chosen to support me over these past 4 years. They are the reason why we are successful today. They are the reasons why we continue to scale. So my job continues to be how to provide them with the safest, most fun, entertaining experience possible so that I can continue to serve them and they continue to support me and we keep this thing going. I tell everyone in my streams every day, I'm not trying to do this for 5 years. I want to do this for the next 20 years. So I need them and I need their feedback and I need to make sure that I'm doing the most that I can to make their experience the best.
Well, I'm sure your Dodgers, you'd like them to win for the next 20 years too, and they just keep assembling like all this talent, which is crazy out there. So you're out in L.A. and Jameel ended up showing me the video of you being at the World Series game, and Freeman hits the grand slam, and it sucks because my son, I was a big Braves fan growing up. I grew up like 20 minutes from where they spring train, so Braves forever. And then he kind of grew up loving Freddie Freeman. And then, of course, he leaves, goes to your Dodgers and helps him win a championship. But how cool are moments like that, just to be a part of that crowd, that community? I mean, I've been to Dodger Stadium a few times, but it looks amazing, just the passion that people have for that sport out there.
Oh yeah, being a Dodger fan in LA is one of the best experiences of my life. Really, my entire family's huge Dodger fans. Like I said, my stepdad included. And really, like in the moment of it all, I was very caught up in the idea of being there for the first time for a World Series, Dodgers versus Yankees. Like I said, growing up where I did and not ever really believing that I could be at a World Series game is just that in itself was super emotional for me. But I even said like you saw my reel went a little viral, not very viral, but I go, where are my Braves fans at? It's Freddie Freeman at the plate. I was trying my best because I was there doing content. I was there actually working, so I had Eddie with me and everything. And I was like, I was there to create content for our community and for our channel. So I was kind of doing play by plays the entire night. And obviously I had no idea that the one of the greatest moments in Dodger history was going to happen right
Yeah.
before my eyes. So I was lucky to capture that moment. But in the moment, it's just to me personally, sitting with my dad and watching every single game we've ever watched and dreaming of experiencing a moment like that, even just on TV, and being able to be there and experience it. He's the first person that I thought of. And now I love being able to rub it in his face because I can't believe how many games we saw and I had to hear about Kirk Gibson's
Yeah.
home run and how he watched it on TV. So now every time he brings that up, I get to bring up this Freddie Freeman moment and say I was there. So
There you go. Perfect.
That's
pretty
pretty
amazing.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's for those of you who don't know, go check out Instagram. You'll see Stephanie loser stuff, man. She's going wild in the stands. It's pretty cool. We're just raw passion is what that is. And so, well, we have a big love for non-sports. You and I, we've grown in our communities, I think,
Yes.
and just gotten a chance to really embrace not the typical. I call it ABC, right? Baseball, basketball, football. Don't get me wrong, we break those and we have an awesome community in those worlds, but we've also been able to kind of have this adjunct, whether it be Star Wars, whether it be WWE, which I want to talk to you about a little bit too, whether it be Marvel, Disney. There's so many different kind of franchises and things in this non-sport world. And so I would love to hear, maybe your take on the Mama Breaks take on the future of non-sports cards, because we're starting to see a resurgence and a growth in that. And if you want to include Pokemon in that as well, because I consider TCG in that realm as well. But what are your thoughts on that and the resurgence we're seeing?
I'll have to admit I don't know a lot about TCG anymore. I've really I think it's a complicated but obviously a lot of people love the trading card game aspect of it. Is not something that I'm particularly passionate or interested in, but I do want to learn more. But just as far as like tops trading card sets or just your typical base sets, 100 cards, inserts, autographs, and so on and so forth is very new for this non-sport category. And you know this because when I started breaking, we had maybe 2 or 3 Star Wars set a year. We had no Marvel. The closest that we did have to that which was Upper Deck, who did an incredible job growing Marvel cards. You know how big Upper Deck was for Marvel. They've created series over the past decades that are going to stand the test of time, and those are always going to be amazing Marvel cards. But now that we have Tops and Fanatics with the licensing for Marvel, we're seeing just an entirely brand new era, right? I'm excited to see how they bring a lot of the successes that they've had in baseball, basketball, and football that they've been working on, a lot of new innovations, and how they come and bring that to Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars cards. We've already seen the growth of Star Wars cards, incredible growth of Star Wars cards, even in just the past 2 years because of all the innovations Topps has done. And we're getting more SKUs than ever. I think that's a good sign, a good marker to show how awesome Marvel and Disney cards are going to be, especially because we have very little Disney cards overall.
Yeah, Topps is going to do an awesome job, I think, with bringing that to the forefront. You have this transition right now from Upper Deck. For listeners who may not know, but Upper Deck kind of doing Marvel for so long and now shifting over to Topps. We had our first set called Topps Finest X-Men that came out, X-Men 97, which loved seeing your breaks and you dressing up as Rogue and putting on the accent and stuff like that. So that's fun to see,
Nice.
and just embracing, what's happening. Thinking through all the different franchises, I want the Mama Breaks take on this. I don't want the general answer. I want the specific answer. What franchise do you think might have the most room to grow in the next few years when it comes to non-sports cards?
It's Disney. We just haven't seen Disney. We haven't really seen anybody take a crack at Disney. Like I said, Marvel, Upper Deck did a great job with Marvel, and Topps has been doing Star Wars forever. So really taking a crack at Disney for the first time, Topps needs to show out. That's the Mama Breaks takes. I want them to show out and make this amazing. Disney Sapphire was gorgeous. Disney Genesis, I don't know. I'm very, most of the time I'm very skeptical, and I don't really. I'll see it. I'll see it when it comes to life, and that's what I'm. I want to challenge Topps to do a great job with Disney, and I think it's going to be a way that a lot of new collectors get into this space. I've already seen the growth with just a few Disney breaks that I have done with new people getting into collecting cards and joining breaks. So
I'm a big goofy guy, so I need a goofy card. That'd be cool.
All right, we'll try. I'll get you the super fractal.
Well, and you mentioned in Star Wars and space and everything else. It looks like you're in space. That's awesome background back there. I love it.
I love my big TV here. I can be anywhere I want to be. So.
Yeah.
I
Well,
can be in
and
Maui if I want to. I'll change it in a little bit. Yeah.
okay, perfect. Weather's I'm sure amazing there. But as you look at that and just the way everything is growing here, and we're celebrating women in the hobby, and so your thoughts on how there can be more people like you, female collectors, breakers, flippers, everybody being a part of this industry. I know, I've seen it, and I go in Jameel's shop, and there's more and more moms in there, or females just trying to get into it and do it with their kids. So how does that even grow more?
Yeah, I think that's a really great point, right? Like, how do we get more moms doing it with their kids? I recently started trying to do more content where I'm interviewing kids and their parents. Sometimes you want to interview the kids or just the parents, but just I want to kind of show more of that family experience and show how many families are out there collecting. But I think I don't think it's the best thing to just like want to get moms into it. I don't think they have to get into cards if they don't really want to. I think the best thing that we can all do, especially as industry leaders, as prominent breakers, prominent card shop owners, is do your due diligence. If you're deciding to do content, and put your most authentic self out there. Do it every day. It gets better, it gets easier, but the more people see exactly who you are, like look at me, right? I'm telling you right now, I just cried telling you that story about the Freddie Freeman walk-off home run, and a little part of me is embarrassed, but the other part of me is like, I don't care. That's who I am.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue showing you who I am and what I'm passionate about, because if that inspires one person to do what it is that they're passionate about, it's all worth it. So I think there's so many people that I've had the great opportunity to meet in this industry, Jameel being one of them, who are so passionate about cards. It's inspiring to me. I get to meet people like Jameel because I get to go to the Tops conference, because I get to go to the national, but not so many people don't have those opportunities. So we need to put that out on social media, show what you love, and you will inspire others, period.
Yeah, that's amen to that, Stephanie. Yeah, is what I have to say. Thank you for that answer, because I think it's where we have a lot of room to grow, and it's been awesome watching you kind of in the world of content. There's always something new from Mama Breaks out there, but I don't know if Mama Breaks has ever been challenged with a rapid fire segment. So we always end our segments and our interviews with people, because we could talk for hours here, but I know you got breaks and things to get to. We have a sponsored by Titan MRI. It's called the Meelypod rapid fire segment. So if you're up for it, if you choose to accept this mission, I got a few questions here. I'm going to blast at you, and I want you to give me first thing that comes to mind, if you're okay with that.
Challenge accepted.
All right, Padawan. Let's do this. The Jedi training here. Here we go. That's right. First question: are the Dodgers winning the pennant in 25?
Yes.
That was too easy.
She says yes. I mean, they do have like literally the Avengers team and X-Men team of everybody. All right, Rhea Ripley or Rogue?
Oh, Rhea.
Rhea Ripley.
Winning. She's taking the men's championship at WrestleMania. I can't believe she lost last night.
She's tough. I saw her at Fanatics Fest. She is tough looking. I did not want to mess with her. What is the next channel hobby? What is the next channel? Is it going to be Hubby Breaks, or is it going to be Boys Breaks?
My husband from the beginning said he would never be on camera doing breaks, so definitely Garcia Boy Breaks. I have two boys.
We'll have to think of a cool name for that, the Garcia Boys. That sounds fun. All right, biggest pull in Mama Breaks history.
Oh, that one's hard because we've been on a tear this year. But I think most significant to Mama Breaks history is that 2022 Star Wars Galaxy Chrome Darth Vader portrait that sold on Golden for over 20K.
Superfractor, right?
Yeah, Superfractor, catapulting a bunch of Star Wars records after that. So Mama Breaks history, Star Wars card history, that one.
Paving history with the Superfractors. I love it. Okay, staying with Star Wars, who's your favorite Jedi?
Rey.
Ooh, Rey. She's tough. Got some movies coming out soon, too, so that'll be exciting.
Yeah. You really gotta start collecting Rey if you're smart.
That's smart. That's a good idea. All right, this one's a little tricky here. That's because I know how I think about it. But Superfractor, Black Finite, or a Paperdasha?
Superfractor all the way, 100%.
I thought you might lean to
Not even
Paperdasher
close.
because you've hit some super cool. You hit a Silver Surfer one, I think I saw.
Actually, that was my first one ever. Well, I think I hit like a couple in baseball, but nobody crazy. But that was like my first big Papa hit.
This is a
last night.
separate rapid fire question, Stephanie. Do you call it Pappy or do you call it Paperdasher?
I called it Papa.
Papa. There we go. I like it. I like it.
I don't
Sapphire Jim.
pretend to know how to say the full one. I just Papa Pink.
Pop. I like that way better than the guys that say Pappies. So I like that a lot better.
Happy sounds
Okay.
kind of weird.
It is weird, right? It is. All right. A couple more. Go-to food spot for Stephanie in LA.
Since I grew up, my favorite place to eat King Taco.
Ooh, where's that at?
You guys gonna try it? There's one in East LA. There's one in Ontario, 10 minutes from me. And then there's the one in East LA and the ones in South LA downtown are the originals. Just go try out a sope. If you don't know what a
Sope.
sope is yet, sope at King Taco when you're in LA. You're welcome.
There you go.
That sounds like the winner right there. It just sounds good. I'm getting hungry here now. It's lunchtime. Stephanie, who's your favorite female to collect?
Princess Leia.
Ooh, there we go. Do you own a Carrie Fisher autograph?
I do. I have in the past. I don't currently. I'm very picky, but I need to grab one. Yeah.
The on-card ones are the ones that people super sought after, right? There's some beautiful ones from Perspectives.
Those are hard.
Yeah, they're
Hard
tough
to
to
find.
find. All right, well, if anybody's out there want to do a trade with Mama at one of the future shows, if you got a Leia autograph, she's interested. All right, so our Titan MRI Meelypod rapid fire segment is almost done. I got one last question for you, Miss Mama. It's the year 2030, 5 years away. Where does Stephanie see Mama Breaks at, as well as the hobby in general?
Oh, as well as the hobby in general. I'll be breaking 24/7, available in all over the world, and hopefully supporting my kids in whatever they're passionate about. Hopefully sports. But the hobby overall is going to be, I don't know, if I have anything to do with it, it's just still exciting and fun and more Disney, more Marvel, more Star Wars, and enjoying it with as many families as possible. That's what I'm going to be doing anyway.
Well, and that's what I love. Like, it just that word "fun." It's such a simple little word, but I think we need to do that with everything. I mean, I try to do that here. Certainly on the broadcast, you don't want to be this just stuck-up broadcaster that's just boring and try to sound robotic. It's goofing off, enjoying it, because I think that's what makes people smile. And I mean, your smile's infectious. Just the 20 minutes we've gotten to sit here and talk to you, and just the passion about it. So, yeah. You did good, Jameel, bringing her on.
Yeah, Steph's awesome.
Thank
Steph, I
you,
was
Dad.
just another quick thought is I always see you in person, but if I close my eyes, I feel like I'm listening to Delilah. You remember Delilah back in the day, Jeff?
Oh, on the radio?
Yeah, she's just got that soothing break voice. So that's just another pro for you.
Who's
Yes.
that?
Yeah, you have to look her up.
She did a lot of stuff like putting people together, like relationships and like.
And that's exactly what you're doing with cards. So
Well, you know what? I'll have to admit, I listened to Loveline quite a bit growing up. So I had my radio since I was in the 5th grade. So I probably listened to Loveline every night from like 5th grade till high school. Maybe that's part of why I like being a breaker so much. And I'd work on my voice a lot. So there's also like a lot of little details too that you can work on as being a breaker. But I've definitely developed a better on-air voice over time because I've worked on it, breathing and all that stuff. So
perfecting her craft.
Yeah,
See
what
that?
it's all about.
Take notes, folks. Take notes. Well, Stephanie, it's a joy seeing you. It's a joy talking with you. Just wish you the best of success with Mama Breaks. And for those of you who don't know, she's very active on all the channels, big YouTube channel, big Instagram following. Are there any other social media followings that you want people to find you on?
Fanatics Live. We're live 100 hours a week. It's me, Kevin, or Tony, and you can join all kinds of breaks with us and have a lot of fun.
And another thing about Stephanie, she's not saying is her breaks are priced fairly. That is key
Thank
in breaks.
you.
Yes, that is hard to maintain, but it is key. So go check her out. Go break with her, and tell her Jeff and Jameel sent you over. So
That's right.
Yes, definitely. I'll give you $5 off.
there we go. We appreciate it,
Thank
Stephanie.
you guys for having me on. This is fun.
Yep,
Yeah.
awesome. Good stuff.
Great questions.
Yep.
See ya.
Thanks, Stephanie. Tremendous. And again, it's just you're just so appreciative of being able to hear from these types of people, and the ones that are passionate about it all, and just to I mean, just to have a love, from a little child that just continue to grow and grow and grow, and just being there and watching games with dad and all these other things, you can just, it's awesome.
Yeah, the authenticity is real, and it's not fake there. And I know in our hobby sometimes we have negative connotations, but you definitely get positivity with Mama Breaks and her brand and what she's brought to just the hobby in so many different levels. So good people.
Yeah, somebody out there find her that Carrie Fisher autograph.
That's right.
And then you can find me the bikini pic and the
I was going to say the
Hut.
goofy superfractor, but you want the...
I'll take the goofy superfractor.
Okay.
That'd be awesome. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back and continue with more from Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. It's a Meelypod Hobby Podcast. Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
This is Jameel, owner of the Meelypop shop, Gainesville's home for collectibles of all sorts, including every single type of sports cards, whether it be Panini, Topps, Leaf, Upper Deck. We have it. Come on in, get yourself a box, a pack, get yourself some supplies, get into our breaks, get your Pokemon, get your Yu-Gi-Oh! All the other different kinds of TCG products that we carry and shop are always fully in stock. You can find our stuff on our website as well, meelypops.com. That's another way you can interact with the store, or you can just come into the shop. We're located off 39th Avenue by I-75 behind Walgreens and Sonny's. Stop on by. We're open every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And you can check us out on our social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, whatnot, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. We'd love to see you. Come on out to the shop, have some fun, be a part of the card community here in Gainesville, and always go Gators.
All right, we welcome you back, finishing things up with our wax segment here on the Meelypod Hobby Podcast. Great stuff from Mama Breaks. Just an incredible story. It's hard. I didn't want to like her because she's a Dodger, but then you talk to her, and that's what happens with people. Like, there's so many people that you just hate in the sports world because they beat your team, or they do something, and then you meet them in person, they're so nice, you're like, damn it, I wanted them to be jerks so I can continue to hate them.
Yeah, she's great, and just great for the hobby. And she talks about 2021.
Yeah,
that's not too long ago, you know. And so, at age 30, getting a baseball card, and so it's really cool to see the dreams that people can have in the hobby when you work hard.
Yeah, it was great. I know all the people out there are working hard to give us more content, right? And give us more wax to open up. Yeah,
there's a lot of wax. This week there's been wax from the last couple weeks. One set that I'm excited about, Jeff, coming out this week is they finally made a set that is about you.
Oh, yeah?
It's Upper Deck James Bond 007.
Wow.
And I know that you're, a savvy spy connoisseur. So, no, seriously, this is a really, really unique set because they've obtained autographs from Daniel Craig, Pierce Brosnan. I saw Christopher Walken. I think it's his first autograph card ever because he was a villain in Bond. So there's going to be a lot. What's the girl's name? Ana de Armas, I think, is signing in this product. So there's going to be not just the Bond guys, but the Bond ladies as well. So very unique set. Upper Deck Black Diamond's a high-end set. So from the non-sport side, I'm excited to see how this pans out. We had a set a couple weeks ago, Halo, which was another non-sport kind of new franchise. That box went from $150 a box to now $275. So you're starting to see that, and we talked about that with Stephanie, just the non-sports resurgent, people getting excited about things not necessarily typical sports. Big release for basketball, 2020 or football. 24 Topps Finest Football, which is a new release. We had Chrome come out a couple weeks ago. Now we have Finest, so people hunting more Jaden Daniels autos, Bo Nix autos, Caleb Williams autos, Tom Brady auto. The Superfractor got pulled, literally, of Tom Brady. I think last week at Card Vault Breaks.
Really?
So Tom Brady chimed in and said, I'm a game, I want to buy it. So it was pretty cool to see him interact on a big card of his that got pulled. For Upper Deck fans as well, Series 2 Hockey is coming out, which is big. I know there's some young guns that people are chasing as well. And then we got a fun product for you, which I know you love. It's called 2024 Panini Prospect Edition Baseball.
Okay.
So first year they've thrown their hat into like the prospect only stuff. So in my mind, I think a little bit like Bowman, but it's going to be different. And Panini's got a prospect edition. So maybe a good time to get in on that. It's a fairly cheap buy-in price too. So some of these guys turn out to be studs,
Never know.
It's a great time to get in. Donruss Basketball is coming out this week. Panini Obsidian Football, Panini Illusions Football, and then 2 I saved for the end. I think you're going to love this. Prism, the quintessential brand from Panini, which everyone knows, they have a Live Golf set coming out.
Way.
So Panini Prism Live Golf with DeChambeau, Poultier, and there's so many different names in it. It's exciting to see. We'll have to rip a box when they come in, so we can break something with Jeff. And then they also threw their hat into the entertainment world, which we have not seen from Panini in a long time. The 24 Prism Rolling Stones Hobby Mega Box is coming out. So literally cards with the Rolling Stones. Okay. We're going to have Prism zebras and refractors and silvers and numbered of the Rolling Stones. So we'll see how that goes. I have no idea. We have some coming in the shop, but it's a very busy week full of new wax, and some of this stuff's not going to break the bank. Some of it might, but I think it's a pretty affordable week too for wax. Nothing crazy high end.
Yeah, there's some certainly some epic Rolling Stone posters from back in the day and all the things. So I'm sure they can get really good and creative with that.
Yeah.
And I do want to the Topps Chrome. We talked about that a couple of weeks ago and how you're excited because of the Jaden Daniels stuff. Are we seeing? Other than the Brady, some big stuff being pulled there?
Yeah, great cards. Here's a crazy thing I was looking at yesterday. Jane Daniels cards, I think, peaked, and they're actually starting to come down a little bit. And I'm wondering if a lot of it has to do with football just being over and the shift to baseball, basketball, hockey, just focusing on other things, the draft, the new rookies, Shadur and Cam and Hunter and all these names. So what we're noticing is there are ebbs and flows when you would think from now until season start, the product and the autograph should go up. I think it's a good lesson, when stuff just comes out and those big hits just come out. If you can be patient, sometimes I think it's worth waiting on specific products just like that. So we're seeing a little bit of a decrease, but still people want Jaden Daniels. Don't get me wrong, and people want him in shop left and right. Another guy that's really popped off recently is Drake May. I think a lot of people are really looking to see where he's going to be in next year and that New England offense and new coaching and things going on. So see who they draft, and it'll be fun to watch. But yeah, that's the week for wax. It just seems like every week we're getting into more and more heavy football, heavy basketball, I'll have some more baseball releases coming out. Star Wars soon with some more releases next week. So
yeah, monitor all those prospects in spring training right now. Yeah. See some ones you fall in love with that may make the team that you didn't think would, and maybe get on them early, like she was talking about, and then go out and get Rhea cards.
Yeah, you might want to get Rhea Ripley's, and then she also collects Rey from Star Wars. So the Rey name there is tough. Speaking of ladies, we're going to continue on with just celebrating women in the hobby on the podcast. So next week, episode 34. We're on 33 this week. Grant Hill, that's Larry Bird. A lot of good 33s actually. 34 next week. We're going to have Joanna Baldridge, who runs Meelypops SC on, and she is awesome, and talk a little bit about what she's done in the past year and kind of just jumping into running a card shop, getting into this world, just jumping into it. So it'll be fun to have a conversation with her, and looking forward to that as we just celebrate something I'm really passionate about, just seeing more ladies in the hobby and celebrating what they're doing.
Yeah, it is really special for sure. All right, that'll do it for this episode of the Meelypod Hobby Podcast. And again, we'll do it next week. So make sure you tune in however you find your podcasts on YouTube and all that good jazz. For Jameel, I am Jeff. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for joining us. We will see you next Thursday at noon.